Good day, everybody. As you know, my name is Jason Stella, and I am the host of the Lifetime Training Podcast, and I am extremely excited to bring to you Mr. Nick Rooston. Nick has been with us in a manager's capacity at Lifetime up in the California region, and is just, has a great story, great career, and, hopefully in the next 30 minutes, he'll be able to share his path, and you guys can learn some lessons along the way to help speed your careers up and be as successful as he is. So welcome, Nick.
Hey, Jason, glad to be here.
Man, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate Mr. Andrew Becker, letting us know about your story. So, why don't we kick right into it? And why don't you give the group a little bit of a background on you and the story of kind of how you became and how you found Lifetime and where you're at today.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. I've been asked this question a lot, and it's always tough to make it concise because I want to really hit every point along the way and kind of describe my career growth. I started in the industry over 10 years ago when I was a freshman at the University of Arizona. To pay my way through college, I started off as a personal trainer. Always had a huge love for sports and fitness. I was in the gym constantly throughout high school and going into college. So I thought, why not get a job here and start working? Yep. With the University of Arizona, I had the pleasure of working with Campus Health, and we developed a training methodology for type 1, type 2, and gestational diabetes.
Oh, wow.
So I was able to kind of start my career on that and having medical intervention with health and wellness. The university adopted the protocols. I went on to lecture for it.
Ooh, congrats.
And after about 3 years at the university as a personal trainer, I graduated with my degree in biochemistry. And I moved out to California. I knew that this is a state I wanted to be in. I moved out to Orange County, Fullerton, California. Mm-hmm. I was a private trainer for about 6 months, and I figured out how hard that would be. So I got linked up with 24-Hour Fitness. Yep. And I started my career there of about 6 years, just entry level, PT level 1. I climbed my way up to master trainer in about a year and a half. And I found a lot of success along the way, going from a university gym to a commercial gym where there's a lot more urgency, a lot more emphasis on development, growing. I really found my passion for fitness. And I quickly realized that I didn't want to just impact the clients that I could, interact with 20 or 25 a week, but I wanted to impact more. So I sought after leadership positions, became an assistant manager, and then eventually a fitness manager for 24-Hour Fitness. Continued to climb the ranks and eventually worked with the whole district on their fitness operations before entering the GMT program. Then I had the pleasure of getting to become a general manager and seeing all club operations and worked my way up through the ranks there. Mm-hmm. After about 2 years and 3 clubs later, I was overseeing 5 clubs in North Orange County and having a great time doing it.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah. I learned a lot about business acumen, leadership development along the way. I do credit 24 for that. And it made me not just a great technician, a great trainer, but a dynamic leader and a great business operator. And with those skill sets, obviously I started coming up on the radar, and that's when Lifetime got a hold of me. Mm-hmm. And going back to last October, I started getting in contact with them, and I started researching the company, and I discovered that there was a lot to be learned here, just from the diversification of the portfolio, their approach to health and wellness, not just in the club, but holistically with everything they're doing, LT Minds, LT Life, LT Stay. I saw a really cool opportunity to go with a company that had a great vision. So after a lengthy interview process, I found my way to Folsom, California, where I'm now the personal training manager at the Folsom Lifetime Athletic, and happy to be here. I've been in the role about 4 months, and it's been a dynamic environment between going through COVID and everything here and learning the ropes. It was once quoted to me as drinking out of a fire hose. And I think that's the most accurate definition of it.
Everything's new, man. Yeah. Well, that's an awesome story, man. Congratulations. And, a lot of people, as some people know, I had that transition. I was with Lifetime for 14 years and then took a hiatus and was with 24 for a bit and then ended up coming back. And, there's a lot of times I think in this transition of being called a general manager and then, coming by us and being a training manager. And it's hard, if people are after titles, which I know a lot of people, very easily look at, oh, well, I was a district manager, I was a general manager, I can't be a PT manager. And I always say that the difference in being a PT manager with Lifetime and any other organization that I've know of or that I've worked at is vastly different. The P&L is vastly different. It's just a bigger business in fitness and more direct reports and than anywhere else. And I always liken kind of the club manager very similar to the PT manager. So, how did you get past that? Because I know that is something that always in these transitions occurs in mind around that title. And how did you handle that? And what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, after being a multi-unit leader and looking towards an official position with 24 for that, it took a lot of humility. I had to set my ego aside. And that's the first step I took because I wanted to really understand what this role would entail.
Mm-hmm.
And it was described to me as a portfolio manager, where you have 6 revenue streams that you're overseeing between Pilates, nutrition, metabolics, one-on-one, small group, lab testing, nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized quickly that, as you said, the P&L for this one club, this one department, would match the entire P&L of the club that I was previously running.
Yeah.
So from a dollar and cent standpoint, it was equivalent. From the team member management standpoint, I was actually going to be managing more team members. At its peak, or when I build this team back up, we'll have not only 6 managers reporting directly into me, but about 45 to 50 full-time trainers on staff where I'll be overseeing those operations.
Yep.
So coming from the previous position where I had about 35 to 40 team members and 3 direct reports as managers, I saw that this was even more than just a lateral move. I was actually ascending up.
Yeah. And we're not saying one's better than the other. It's not about that at all. What we're saying and what I'm trying to get across too is, when you come in, there's a lot more to it. It's not just your, riffing off sessions. You are doing that obviously, but there's a bit more with, like you said, all the different departments. And then you tack on a general manager position within Lifetime where you've got 10 to 12 different departments and you have to understand what's going on in the pool room, and you got to understand what's going on in the cafe and the spa and the kids center and all those particular areas. So, I'm glad and I appreciate that. It's the same thing. I've been through the same thing. It's, their money, I think if you look at it, we pay, pretty well. And I would argue our PT managers are making, as much, if they're doing well, as much, if not more than general managers at other locations as well. So get paid, the money that we're looking to get paid, but then also have this other growth opportunity. And the thing I also love about Lifetime is the infrastructure is so vast within the fitness side that you can actually get promoted in fitness and stay within fitness, where, everywhere, a lot of the other organizations, it's fitness manager. And then from there you have to go club manager, and maybe you don't want to worry about that. And maybe you don't want to get into, sales of memberships and all of that other thing. So, that's awesome. And I really appreciate, you being humble and kicking butt and taking names and taking on that Sacramento club for us, man.
No, much appreciated. That's exactly how I look at it. I don't think anyone, or people rarely leave a job for another job unless it's going to be a better move for them or more income potential.
Yeah.
And I remember being a young leader in fitness and wanting to go to like a regional fitness director position, and that position continuously come and gone. So that's when I looked at the career route of just going through general manager, district manager, and above. But that is one thing I really appreciate about Lifetime is there's multiple career paths.
Yeah.
You're not just on one track. You can really diversify your understanding of the business and get into those niches and stay within the PT realm, which is obviously my passion. I'm happy to be back in that position again.
That's awesome. Well, you've had 10 years, you've seen some different organizations. What can you share with the group, that's watching out there that, you can give them some advice on? What were the lessons that you learned? A lot of times those lessons comes from the punches in the face. I know they have most of the time. For me, a lot of times you don't learn as much when you're winning, except you just keep winning, but things get hidden. So, what are those lessons that you can bring and share with the group, that can hopefully they can learn from and hopefully speed their career choice?
Definitely. The University of Arizona is really trial by fire. Being an amenity of the school, not necessarily a driver of revenue, there wasn't a lot of emphasis on acquisition. The membership was paid for through the tuition dues.
Mm-hmm.
The PT was just walk-ins only. So I remember being in class, checking my email every hour to see if I got an email from my fitness manager to see, hey, there's a new client available this time. And the first trainer to respond would usually give the clientele. So I had to just kind of learn on my own and understand training methodology and do a lot of research. It fostered a lot of strength and independence in me that I was able to leverage later and grow my career faster because I didn't have those things in place to help build my education or further my development. Going fast forwarding to 24-hour fitness.
Well, wait, I want to stop you for 1 second there, because I think that there's a big point there that, those that have gone to university or college and have their degrees, it's starting to turn, I think, a little bit, but not a lot, where those universities, and again, if I'm wrong here in your experience, please let me know. But from what I've seen is the universities that go exercise phys, biochem, those things, they really kind of want to push you into some form of either physical therapy, if you can get there, or doing research kind of based stuff for the universities so that stuff could come back. And they don't really see the training and how it's evolved, and working in a club, and the benefits and the career path, and the, really the retirement funds that you can actually generate, through an organizations like us. I can't say that all of them are like that, but I know we are. So, what can you share on that side of it before we move into jumping out of the college realm into, the more club realm?
I think you're absolutely right. There was a huge emphasis to go into physical therapy or other professions around that, or looking at doing research and going to academia. And I think you can see through the vocational schools in the last 10 years, there are PT programs, but we're now just starting to see the advent inside the universities where it's like, hey, this isn't a job, this is a career. And that was actually one of the things that I faced most early in my career as a personal trainer was, hey, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to go into your field? When are you going to stop messing around with this? And I had to look at him and said, this is my career. This is my passion. This is where I want to be. And I think we're starting to see that corner going from being a personal trainer to truly a fitness professional.
Yep.
And that's something I'd look to lead the way in, is helping people understand this is a career. This is something that you can do for your life. You can grow within and make a great living doing it. And to your point, have your 401k, have your health benefits.
Yeah.
But more importantly, make a strong impact on society while doing that.
Yeah. It's funny too, because there's a couple of people that are out there, some that used to work for us, that would bash our want to call them what you just call them, health and fitness professionals or fitness professionals versus trainer or coach. And they thought that was a bad corporate thing. And I'm like, no, it's about bringing professionalism and having the perception of being a trainer, being a true profession that you can retire from. I mean, that was my, that was my tagline for my career with Lifetime, as well as moving into the roles that I had at 24 and in club sport, was, hey, how can we create an environment that elevates the profession so that people look at us as a profession, and in some cases we saw with COVID, I mean, obviously take the facility out, but being healthy is something that should cause us to be an essential service, right? But again, we're not seen as that because we were all meathead bodybuilders back in the day, and that's that's the way they kind of see us sometimes. So, and that evolution of what a trainer has done 15, 20 years ago, to now is dramatically different. So that's awesome. And I think it's a huge point to get across, because you can make great money. I would argue I make more money now than if I would have been an athletic trainer, hands down, as a career with Lifetime. And, unless you get that elite position, which what percent, a half of a half percent get that elite position in a pro sport where they're really making some great money. So I needed a tangent there because I think it's an important point that people should know, that this is a career with us. And we want to make you a profession that you can retire from. So awesome. Thank you. Let's jump into now. So now you jump from Arizona to 24.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you made that point, by the way. I think that's very important for people to know, and for a lot of young aspiring trainers to look forward to. Now, when I went to 24-Hour Fitness, it just continued later on the educational piece, working with an elite staff of trainers that had a wealth of knowledge and decades of experience was really cool, because I was now in an environment where there's collaboration. Mm-hmm. This is where I really started understanding in-depth methodology, different training styles, different approaches to the process, and then understand like client retention tools, like documenting the workouts, presenting them workout plans on a monthly calendar, understanding the measurement side of it, understanding the science side of it, and getting to really apply that, not just study theory in college, but now seeing it in real life. And through that organization, like I said before, I was able to really start understanding the inputs of the business. How do we best leverage each avenue to make not only the trainer successful, but the members and the clients successful, and really bringing that throughout the entire club. Another important lesson I really valued from 24 was just the leadership development, from reading Extreme Ownership to looking at the Harvard Business Review of Emotional Intelligence to going forth with the Clifton Strength Finder from Gallup polls.
Love it.
As a young leader, it really helped hone in my skill set and give me a process to follow so I could cultivate more trainers, and beyond that, more leaders of trainers to help just grow our impact, worldwide. Because as a trainer, you can, like I said, have 20 to 25 clients. Yeah. As a PT manager, you might be able to oversee 300 to 500 clients. Yeah. And then as a regional fitness director, you're probably seeing tens of thousands of clients. Now, these are more lives that we can impact and have be on the preventative side versus reactionary side of our healthcare.
Yep. Well, and I think there were so many things in there too, and I think sometimes we forget, when we're in the mix of it and we're going through it, we forget all the little things that we learn along the way, and some things that popped up there. You'd mentioned about growing up to 15, 25 sessions, and I always say everybody wants more clients until they get them, and then if they haven't developed the skill sets to be able to understand how to manage and organize that, it becomes either I lose a lot of them or I'm recycling them, and obviously that's one of the biggest issues in our industry is the obviously the ability to get results, but losing clients, and then just I lose two, I get two, I lose two, I get two, and then you kind of play this game back and forth. So is there any very specific things that you can share around what you learned on, once you start getting into that 20, 25, 30 sessions a week, which I think every trainer has to say they did, 12 a day for, a period of time to kind of earn that stripe. But, what can you learn? What can you teach, or what can you explain about, as you increase your business, the things that you have to know to be able to maintain that?
Absolutely. I was saying 20 to 25 clients per week with probably
Okay.
about 30 to 40 sessions.
Yeah.
But to your point about how you retain it, there's three rules that were taught to me. Rule number one is always keep your clients engaged, drive results for them, and keep them happy. Rule number two is continue to always acquisition new clients.
Mhm.
Rule number three is never sacrifice rule number one for rule number two.
Love that.
And
Can
if
you
you can
explain
keep
that?
that balance.
Explain that, just, never sacrificing number one for number two.
So as you're going out to find new clients, because we're in the business of putting ourselves out of business, correct? Right? This is a means to an end. We're trying to create self-efficacy here.
Mhm.
So you're inevitably going to have some of your clients graduate, is how I like to describe
Yeah.
it, where they're on their own. They've reached their goals. They've been taught how to do it on their own, and they're now driving their own success. So as you go to look for new clients, making sure that you're not sacrificing your energy, because your first client and your last client should get the same amount of attention and energy from you throughout that day,
Yep.
and never moving an appointment for a prospective client or maybe a new appointment acquisition time for a current client. They've subscribed, they've sacrificed, they've said we believe in you, and they've
Yeah.
shown dedication. So we have to reward that and maintain that time and respect for them. So
Love
when
that.
it comes to taking care of a client, you got to go above and beyond anything else.
I love it. To add to that, I kind of broke it down into some very simple stuff. And this was done off of I interviewed about 400, surveyed, I should say, about 400 trainers, 200 that were what I would consider some of the most successful from a longevity and in dollars and cents standpoint. Because we can go down the weeds of saying they're not the most successful, they're not as educated. I took the education part out, although that was a component that was in there. And I asked them, what do you attribute your success to? It's very familiar. There's a book called Influencer, The Power to Change Anything, one of my favorite books ever. And they talk about critical behaviors, and critical behaviors are the behaviors that are done by the people that are successful that are not done by the people that are not, or not done well. And so long story short, what I came to find is there were roughly about 7 areas that the most successful were doing that the least successful either didn't do at all, or were not, or said they were not good at that skill. And those were, the first one was just, they had a purpose, a vision statement. They knew what they wanted to do bigger than I'm just going to give this a shot. They had some mantra or some statement that they could respond to immediately and tell you exactly, this is why I'm here, more so than I just want to change lives, like you hear very, very often. The second one was they were organized. And that was some of the things that I think, slapped me in the face when I started getting up to doing a bunch of sessions, was the organization, your schedule, adhering to it, making sure that you're getting your workouts in, making sure that, you're entering in times when you're doing your programming and admin, and, having just a really good schedule that you can go off of so that you're not double or triple booking sometimes. And I've done that,
Yeah.
along the way. Then there was the acquisition retention side of it. So what things were they doing to acquire, and what things were they doing to retain, those members? And then finally they were continuing their education, and continuing their education in a holistic way. And when I say that, I mean the technical expertise, and then the business expertise or the sales expertise. And people so often say, I'm not a salesman, I don't want to do that, but it's part of you being successful. It's part of you being able to maintain the career and the dollar amount that, you probably want to make. So, it's just simple in that, those particular areas are the skills that we need to go back to. And they're nothing more than, like John Wooden said, putting your socks on. It's the fundamentals,
Yes.
right? And who's the best at the fundamentals is going to be the most successful. And we see that time and time again. But yet our generation here, they get tired. Oh yeah, I know that. I know how to program design. I always say, when you know how to program design, look at Charles Poliquin's PICP manual, where it's got 27 principles on just manipulating repetitions. And then you'll go, oh, maybe there's more to this than I think. So, but I just need to throw that in there because I think you were saying those things, but I wanted to be a little bit more specific too. So awesome work. Well, what about you? Do you have a purpose statement or kind of like a mantra that you kind of live by that made you kind of stay within the career for as long as you have?
Oh, 100%. I'm glad that was like your number one thing. I think the vision or your personal why is what makes you powerful as a fitness professional, allows you to connect with others and really inspire them. Going back to college when I was 21, I suffered from hypothyroidism, and I went undiagnosed for a long time because I was young. It wasn't really something my doctor thought to look for. During that time, I suffered from depression, anxiety, to the point where I was able to only go to school, go to work. I'd come home and shut myself in my room. I wasn't enjoying hanging out with my friends, going out with my girlfriend. It was really a tough point in my life. And I remember waking up every day and thinking, gosh, I just don't feel like Nick. And this is a really strange feeling. You could feel like this inner peace is shifted inside of you. And I went to the doctor and he prescribed me antidepressants. And 3 months goes by to test the effects, and I got worse. And I went back for the follow-up to see how it was going. And I told him, I said, this isn't working. So he said, don't worry. Here's a second prescription. This one will work. We don't know which one works for why. There's no test for it. Reluctantly, I accepted his advice and I took a different prescription. And 3 months goes by, and again, I saw some improvement, but not enough. And finally, by the third visit, I went to him and said, Doc, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. I'm losing strength. I'm losing motivation. I was a competitive CrossFit athlete at the time. And I asked him, I said, will you please test my thyroid levels? My mother suffers from hypothyroidism. I believe there's a congenital component. And reluctantly, he ordered the test thinking, why would you ever have low thyroid hormone? And sure enough, it came back. And I finally had the answer I needed. And I got the correct course of treatment. Awesome. After that, Jason, is when fitness really became the centering force of my life. It was my way of working through the depression, through the anxiety, bringing myself whole again to the point now where I'm off all the medications. I'm liberated from that.
Nice. That's awesome. Congratulations.
And because of that, I wanted to pay it forward. And that's my mantra. That's my motivation, or that's what keeps me coming back day in and day out, or pushing harder to help others, because I want to give them that same ability to find the centering force in their life, to be their own healthcare advocate, and to take a little bit of control back with everything that we face, especially right now in 2020 with all the stress and the external factors. But that is what's kept me so close to the career and made me just have a huge passion for the profession.
That's fantastic. Obviously I always say purpose, preparation, performance, and persistence. Those are the four kind of qualities I'm always looking for. Do you have a purpose bigger than yourself and bigger than just, again, I want to help people. But how did, preparation's a big one too. What can you speak to regarding, the preparation through the experiences that you had, through the positions that you had that have been able to bring you to where you are today, where you feel that, you're going to crush it and be successful and do the things that you want through what you've, kind of gone through?
Absolutely. So the first thing is going to be passion. What I found for myself and every trainer, every fitness professional, or even any team member that works within an organization like Lifetime or 24, et cetera, is you have to have passion for what you do. You have to have passion for that fitness, because when you lead with that, it's going to resonate with the individual in front of you, the members in front of you, or the team members in front of you. And that goes so far. The next thing I learned along the way was attitude. You have to be able to overcome adversity. Within this industry, there's a lot of challenges. We're in the business of behavioral change, and that doesn't always go easy. So understanding that you're going to face rejection, understanding that you're going to face failure or frustration, but understanding that you're going to continue to get back up and overcome that is one of the biggest key principles that has driven me through my career, because I've played from behind as a manager. I played from behind as a trainer. But just knowing that, hey, you will find that success again. Just stick to what made you successful in the beginning. And the third thing is energy, making sure that you practice your self-care so that you can come in every day and give
that's great
most to everyone in front of you. You're a pitcher of water, and you're filling up each cup as you go throughout the day. But if you don't refill yourself, you're never going to be able to sustain that.
Love that. Do you have a, like, a lot of us have a defining time where we really got punched in the face hard, and obviously stunk when you were going through it, but you came out, and you came out even better than you were before. Anything that has happened to you, I mean, it could have been the thyroid thing, but anything that happened to you that you can share with them. And also, to tack on another question, I think it's important, is the length of time that it took you to actually go from starting to be successful. Because I think a lot of times everybody wants it, and they want it now, and they want it quick, and they don't realize that the wisdom created through practicing, maybe not with the real people, but practicing when you're supposed to be practicing with the managers or your wife or your significant other. I've heard people talk to dogs, if people practice in the mirrors, whatever it is, so that when you're on stage in the game, when it really means something, and you got somebody that might slap that black credit card, Amex down on you, and you don't blow it on that person versus blowing it, with your dog or the mirror in your, in your house.
Absolutely. On a personal level, definitely the bout of hypothyroidism and depression was my gut check. That gave me
Yeah.
a lot of fortitude that I've put in my life moving forward.
Yeah.
And I value that so much looking back at it for the strength it gave me.
Absolutely.
On a professional level, there's two times that really stand out to me. One of them is when I was a brand new leader. So I ascended from assistant manager position to a fitness manager role within 24. I went to a club in Anaheim, California. This club was 11% of budget when I walked through the door in October. On day one, I had 5 trainers. By day 3, I had 2.
Wow.
So I had some attrition of trainers. I had to have some people that were not available adjust their time and weren't able to sustain that. So I rebuilt this team, and I was working under a leader that was later let go about a month into my role as a fitness manager. So I had no guidance through this time as well. And I remember just being scared and confused because I wasn't sure exactly how to do it or what to do, but I knew what would make me successful. And I stuck to my guns on that. And I just tried to find the best people to fill the team and teach them what I had learned and just replicate that process. And then fast forward to January, 3.5 months later, we were leading the company in performance production. We carried that through the first half of the year. And that's where I had an opportunity to rise up to a higher position at the club I originally started with. And then started overseeing district operations.
Congrats.
And at that club, it was a struggle. It was lower socioeconomic status. The members were disengaged and upset because of continuous turnover for the management.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to stick through that made me realize how much I appreciate it more, and that anything's possible anywhere you go if you have the right attitude.
That's it. That's awesome. Great story. Well, you've shared some of them, but any other experiences that you can share with the group that you've learned working for the various different organizations? I mean, you've only been with Lifetime for about 4 months. You're at 24 for quite a bit, but how do you, not necessarily, again, this isn't about bashing one or the other. It's about just the differences between the two as it relates to the fitness side of it.
Absolutely.
Or the company side of it. Yeah.
Well, coming to Lifetime, one thing that I learned very quickly that I appreciate greatly is the culture of care. Their emphasis on team members and helping them out just to go above and beyond has just shown tremendous results. I identify that as a leader. I believe myself to be a servant leader, and I want to be there for my team. That's what keeps me up at night is, did I do enough for them today? Did I help them cross the finish line? Just like I was with my clients. And what I saw at Lifetime is their commitment to excellence alongside of that culture of care. And I think when you operate as a company or a business and you take care of your team members, the team members take care of the customers, and the business takes care of itself. And even in the short time I've been here, I've felt that as well. And it's forced me to rise as a leader and become greater and find new tactics or strategies to employ to be a better leader. And that's something I'm grateful for because I've always considered myself a continuous learner.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And again, I saw that same concept where I think one of the big things that Lifetime does differentiate, which, something that I was actually trying to get going at 2-4 when I was there, and they didn't really feel like it was what they called a silo of fitness. And I never saw it as a silo. I saw it as just an arm of the business that can be a lot more productive. And, the infrastructure from the corporate office down to the kind of regional management, down to the club management, as you described, all the different leadership positions that you have in your disposal. It's just unlike what else is out there for most of the organizations. And we truly have a passion for and understand the business side, the passion for helping people and getting people involved. And then the business side of it, of, what it can create and giving people less responsibility, that's more focused.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming
Yeah.
on as an external, there was so much to learn here.
Mhm.
That above club level support from a senior PTM, the area lead, the regional fitness director
Yep.
has been so amazing. I mean, the response time from these guys has been incredible and really aided me in getting up and running fast, trying to understand lifetime systems, navigating through the state of the business right now. So I think that their appreciation for simplicity and making sure that there's an abundance of support
Mhm.
made my job so much easier, but also more pleasurable.
Yeah.
Also helps my role look more desirable to the people that I'm grooming to come up the ranks.
And I don't know, have you gone through the PT manager certification? Since, because you've only been on for what, about 4.5 months? Were you
Yes.
able to do that given COVID and the shutdown?
I was able to go through the leadership certification, but
Okay.
not PTM cert. They want to
Yeah.
send me out to Minnesota in December, they said. But
Oh
it's
boy.
I think that's
but
part of the test.
but yeah, you got to deal with December in Minnesota. But at the end of the day, my point in bringing that up too is, again, the structure and the level of education where every manager does have to go to Minnesota and go through a week long. Sometimes in many cases, it's more than that, depending upon your role, to get certified to be able to understand how to do your job versus, hey man, you've been a great trainer, here, now go manage. Good luck
Right?
with
Running the
that.
deep side. I know that's actually something I really appreciate about Lifetime is I had a week-long certification course for leadership. I had the area lead in my club my second week on the job to onboard me and develop me. I have another week in Minnesota to do the PTM onboarding. And there's already additional certifications and processes that are still in my future that I'll go through. And I think when you apply that level of training to your team, that's when you hit the right investment and you're going to get a huge return. So that
Yep.
was another thing that brought me to this company is the continuing development.
Love it. Yeah, and we do have that obviously with even more to come that I'm super excited about. Well, to kind of round this out, my last question to you before we kind of close it down is, can you give, maybe 1 to 3 things that you absolutely just love about Lifetime and why people should consider, even though it's a pandemic, coming on board, because we are looking and we are looking to kind of hire at all levels.
The first thing is their commitment to excellence. I've never seen an organization that is so committed to being the best at what they do with the right intentions behind it, whether that's upkeep and maintenance of the club. The enhanced cleaning protocols here and just the attention to fixing equipment is unparalleled compared to anywhere I've ever been. The commitment to excellence for the team members, making sure they have the best resources, education, and tools at their disposal to do the job that they're best at is bar none. Um, it shows in every area of the club, every area of the company, from the frontline employees all the way up to the executive leadership team. Everyone has a clear sense of purpose and what I like to call like a tradition of excellence. We're going to be the best at what we do because we believe in it. And that excites me.
Yeah, to add to that, I can't tell you, I've been very fortunate enough to have had interactions with Brom and with Jeff Zwiefel and some more of the executive team, and in almost every single time they ask, and I've seen them ask people, and they've asked me, is, what do you love, Jason? What is the thing that you absolutely love to do? Because we need to find a way to get you in a position that you can contribute at a high level in that thing, and if you can do that, you are going to love what you do and you're going to excel at it at a higher level. And I've never had that be asked to me in any of the other organizations that I've ever worked. And it's not a one-time thing. This has been multiple times over 18 total years with Lifetime where I've had, those conversations, as well as those guys coming on a show like this. I got Zweifel later this afternoon, I'm recording, and what COO would do that? And just shows you the passion that the company has at an executive level, for what training specifically is doing, obviously, within the whole organization. Anything else you have to share?
Well, that was actually goes right into my next one, which is that culture of care that I referenced before. I think you said it best. They really, what do you love to do? How do we connect you with that, make you a better individual? I've worked in organizations where your job's on a 30-day lease or it's heavily performance management. But I think we know now, especially with leadership, that there's an appropriate ratio of like, hey, here's 5 attaboys for here's one opportunity that we can take and get better at. And really coaching through positive reinforcement than just using the stick or trying to say, hey, you messed up. I always teach my new leaders, make sure that you recognize good behaviors from the auditing you do, not just following up with the bad ones.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, I've seen this company go above and beyond to help out. When I was moving out here, my stuff was shipped. It was delayed 6 weeks. I was sleeping on an air mattress. But Lifetime came over the top. They helped me through the whole process. They worked with the moving company. they actually got me some financial compensation to help out with that.
Oh,
And I
that's great.
had people in the corporate office call me daily, give me updates. And I've heard examples from a lot of different leaders within the organization that had similar things happen to them, or where they face adversity, they come and say, "Hey, we're going to come over the top. We're not obligated to, but we want to. And we're going to take care of you." And I've seen that through even the personal trainers right now. We have their rates locked into pre-COVID compensation. We've taken care of them through this entire time. The team members that are on furlough, they have their benefits paid for. And I'm like amazed at this organization for how generous they are. And I know that's going to come back and pay it forward later on for them.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Well, man, anything else that you have to share? It's been awesome. And I think there was a ton of gems in here for, people to pay attention to and think about, just on the, the technical end as well as the business end. You can't be afraid to be able to talk about those things. And I think sometimes, like you said, the 5-to-1, I think sometimes that, and we always remember the negative more than the positive. So whenever somebody hears business or sales, it immediately shuts their brain down in the fitness world. But those that can creep up and wake up and find a way to do it that you enjoy, because there is a way. I was that guy. I hated sales, but I found a way to do it to be that I loved, and I didn't feel like that anymore. But anything more you can share with us? Got on a final thought.
Yeah, my final thoughts on this is, one, thank you for having me on the show, Jason. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
It's been a great time talking with you and just sharing my story about all this stuff. But I'll leave the audience with, just stay committed to the passion. If you know your why, if you know why you're here, you'll be successful. That's the first step there. And much like you, I was new to sales, but I found that if you sell through service, if you just go above and beyond and build a value, people will buy into what you have to say, and it becomes very easy. And to the new class of trainers that are coming up through this organization and outside this organization, stay committed. This is absolutely a career opportunity. And in the coming decades, this will evolve much, much greater. There's going to be so much more opportunities to take advantage of our health and manage our own healthcare through fitness professionals.
Yeah. And I could say, from the conversations that I've had is I truly believe that, our industry is going through a change. Obviously there's no ifs, ands, or uts about it, but if ands or uts about it, I meant if ands or buts about it. But at the end of the day, Lifetime is in such an amazing position to be one of the last man standing. And I do believe that they will be, regardless of what happens underneath us. And I don't mean better than us. I just mean the crumbling that we've already seen start to happen. And, we are bringing it back at a great level already. And, our vision for the future and the channels and the investments and, that we have. And I just am so excited for what is to come once we get past, this little hiccup in this whole world that we've got going on right now, especially you dealing with it in California. It's a different level too.
Well, that keeps me on my toes, but definitely stay tuned. Stay
Yeah,
tuned for what's about to
absolutely.
come, because it's going to be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nick. And I wish you absolute best. And hopefully I can get up to see you, up there and in your team. And if there's anything that I can do and we can do to help support you guys even further, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're here for you. And can't tell you how excited I am for hopefully to get this story out and share it with the world.
Thank you very much, Jason. You're always welcome up here. You have
Awesome.
an invite to Folsom.
Perfect. Thank you so much, man. Have a great day.